Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below this video. Also, below this video, you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. Speaking of Patreon, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So, a massive shout out of thanks and appreciation to Michael Kahn, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Will Brax, Melby Styles, Troy Shuker, Bo Snail, Joseph Pizarro, Samson, Maris, Mobile Max 777, Neo the One, Lost Cat FE, Rob W, Open Minded, Reese Pound, Del West Watson, Mike, Muted, Dick Earth Skeptic, Maria Neelands, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Rob H, The Real Gabster, Wind Rider, Liam Nedrick Jr., Abraham Mohammed, Naibai, Adrian Quintana, Skeptic936, Life is Short, Fireball X, TheFlatEarthChannel.com, Texas Mike, Edwin Johnson, and David Wayne Foster. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now I'll hand over to whoever is in Discord and Google so you can enjoy their conversation while I set up for today's live show.
Nathan's channel, so I've been listening to him and subscribing to everybody else that has been recommended, not just via Atheism, but by other channels that I've been listening to as well.
And how did you get your interest on flat Earth versus globe Earth?
Oh, well, I was looking at other different topics, and I just stumbled across it about 5 years ago. And because I was looking at other topics, I didn't really pay much attention to it. And then one day, I just come across another one, and I just listened to it, and I went, that's triggered a few things in my mind. So I did my own research, because I don't like being lied to.
So it's been, what, 5 years now for you altogether?
Yeah, altogether 5 years, yes.
Good. Very good.
Yeah, because I was doing a lot of research into Nikola Tesla and free energy, and because I don't like corporations, the way they rip you off. They charge you too much money for something that should be free. So I was into all that, and going green and environment, and flat Earth is part of the environment, isn't it? So, we all should know where we live.
Indeed. So what was the big moment for you when it hit you strong?
It was just a build-up of things, because I had so many different topics that I was looking into that I couldn't tell you the exact point when I actually thought, yeah, I've been completely misled all my life, and now I know it's flat and we're not living on a spinning water ball next to a vacuum. And luckily, my kids, I've talked to them about it, and they're on board with me as well. They've come around as well, so that's really good news.
Yeah, very good. That sounds like my family. I shared it with them, and they came on their own as well. They did their own research.
Well, that's what I've always told them. Do your own research. Don't believe what you're told, because it might be true, it might not be. But do your own research. Be methodical about it. And if somebody says one thing, see if somebody says something completely opposite to it. And then, look at both sides of the argument and see which holds more credence than the other, than one side or the other.
Yeah, and nowadays, if you just listen to the back and forth, the people, the proponents for the globe are contradicting themselves and stumbling over simple logic and pretty much having our arguments nowadays.
Yeah. They haven't got an argument. It's just a story they keep on churning out. They haven't got no substance to it at all. That's the whole idea. They've got nothing to back up with except a belief.
What, say that again, Arvin?
They never claimed the horizon was Earth curve now.
That was the substance of their argument. That was the argument. Now they're denying it.
Yeah, but that substance doesn't hold water.
Okay. Did you want to add something, Rams? And John, can you back off your mic just a couple of inches? Rams. Clearly not.
Just the logic, the logical thought process is all you really need.
Yeah, or a trivium-based education.
So are you bringing insight to how people would never have known? Newton would say, don't ascribe gravity to me as an innate force. Where would you find that information out?
In a letter he wrote to somebody, I can't remember who.
Right, but where on earth would you ever find someone sharing that?
It's also in the Principia, right? Principia, as we
That's what I think so. But the whole point is it got brought out because of the topic itself, right?
It depends on which level you're referring to. When you say come out, do you mean it's been more exposed to the public? Because I think at the higher levels they knew this anyway.
Correct. And that's the whole thing. So yeah, to the public. So they say gravity, everybody has that meaning gravity from the time they went to school, force attracting another force from the center of the earth. Come and find out they don't even believe that.
Yeah, and when I say high levels, I mean higher levels of academia, just to be clear. Sorry, I was at Arwin that wanted to add something then. No, no one's gonna. I had a bit of rumpusing. I thought it was someone trying to get a word in. Maybe it wasn't you.
No, not me. Yeah. I'm on mute.
He's on mute.
Maybe it's just you rustling paper.
No, I spoke after I spoke. I think it was me representing myself, probably.
Your volume seems to be a little low, Nathan, compared to the rest. I don't know
Really?
what that is.
Okay. Let's see if I can remedy that.
So, 10th man, I have to ask you a question.
If you must, you must.
Oh, it could also be that 10th mic is just a little high.
Does it say that there were dinosaurs on the ark? That would be Noah's Ark?
No.
Then what the heck was I looking at this ark encounter yesterday? Which was amazing. Let me just explain that to you. This thing is so freaking big. When you look at it, you're like at all like, oh my God, this guy Noah built something like this? And then you go inside and he's got dinosaurs in there.
Well, yeah, that's Ken Ham, right?
I don't know. Is
Wait,
that the guy who did it?
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Is that the other ark that carried the other lost animals that later got went?
No, there's only one ark, but they gotta have their dinosaurs.
Right. Well, maybe there was one ark with the dinosaurs.
Yeah, it was like so confusing because you go and it's like a museum. You go and you're looking at all these things and you're reading stuff on the wall. And one part they're talking about evolution, another one they're refuting evolution. So I left there all confused.
Well, it's scientism, right? They got to bring in scientism. It's just like what we encounter here with flat Earth. So you go to
exactly.
You go to someone who says they believe the Bible, and you say, "Great, then what does the Bible say?" And then you read them the Bible, and then you say, "Well, that doesn't match with heliocentrism." And they say, "Yeah, but science." And so the whole, how can I put it, deception is based on pastors thinking that there's an actual outer space, actual things that the heliocentric model says, the orbits and all the stuff. So they actually think this is proven when it's all pseudoscience. And this is why this show is great, because we call them out on it. If they realize that they actually believe in pseudoscience, then they wouldn't be wrangling all these verses in the Bible to mean something they don't, because they don't. I mean, it says right there in Genesis that the sun, the moon, and the stars were made on the fourth day. Well, guess what was made before that? The earth. So their model says it was a big bang, then this explosion caused everything to go outwards, then you have a rotation. So what, if the sun, moon, and stars didn't happen in the fourth day, according to the Bible, then was the earth spinning? Was there gravity? No. So how, it doesn't make any sense. There's no gravity, no earth spinning. The Bible doesn't even talk about those things.
Yeah, the funny thing is my son shows me this these two little animals that they had in the ark, you know, and you read the thing and it says that these were the descendants of whales. They were crawling first. And I said, that's a bunch of nonsense. So this older lady says to me that she was on a Alaskan cruise, and they were viewing whales, and the scientist on board was explaining to them how they once walked on Earth or crawled on Earth. And she said to him, do you know how foolish you sound? So I said, yeah. I said, you know what else sounds foolish? That we're on a spinning water ball. So she looked at me, and I started breaking down flat Earth to her. And then she says, well, I don't know how that works, but God could do anything. I said, yeah, but it doesn't say that he did that. Read Genesis again.
Yep, scientism.
Yeah, I think you're right, Owen. I think it's 10th Man. Are you on your Yeti today? 10th.
No, I'm on my iPad, and I've got my normal earplugs with the mic. Should I restart or what?
Well, anyway, I've leveled everyone up. It's as good as it can get as far as I'm concerned. So that's how it's going to be. Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Also below this video, you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected. And if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. One last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Bev, Neil, father of a stolen child, Arwin, 10th Man, and a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all.
Morning, all.
Afternoon.
Good morning.
Good morning, you tentative
Good
lot.
afternoon.
Hey.
Okay, yeah, let's not overdo it. Very good to have you all. Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge? That's a horizon, formerly known.
Oh, that's the one you was talking about. And no. So, Maxwell, I wasn't feeling good last week.
Yeah, that's it. Just join, leave your mic wide open, and have a discussion on a live show. That's just what I would do too. Thank you very much for that. Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge? That's a horizon, formerly known as Earth curve.
Yeah, he interrupted my Discord good morning and hell no. Not to be confused with hello, because I already said good morning.
Hell no, no Earth curve. Hello, Eli. Any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
No.
No? No?
No, zero.
No early mornings, people stepping in with claims of axial rotation by way of Coriolis deviation that we don't observe in anything beyond the gadgets and gizmos? No? Moving on. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
I have empirical guess.
No, we don't
You
even
want to
know
see
what
a
the
doctor
sun
about
is.
Oh, do you want to
No.
repeat yourself, Sasha? I don't think I heard you correctly.
I have empirical guess.
Yeah, you definitely want
No.
definitely want to see a doctor about that.
You don't want empirical guess. Okay.
Had a guess?
It was 7 million miles away, then 23, then 64, and in the end 73, and in the end 93. That's the answer.
Are you giving us the various distances that have been ascribed to the sun?
It was changing during the history.
Ah, I see. In a model, it
Yeah,
changes.
it's claimed to be a gas ball and sitting in the middle of a vacuum.
In 100 years, it will be 186 million miles. They will say they make mistake with Venus.
Okay, so what I'm getting is we've got a
A big
violation of natural
fireball
law
in a
gas.
vacuum.
We don't know. Yeah, that.
Well, we
You
know
know,
what it's
they
not.
go
Though.
really hard. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, we know what it's not. We know it's not a burning ball of gas in a sky vacuum.
Right.
And then they say, well, no one says it's a burning ball of gas. It's actually just, plasmic gas. But they don't say plasmic gas, they just say plasma.
Right.
I'll take that as a no then.
Yep.
Go on, John.
I was just going to say, isn't that in plasma just energized gas particles and then introducing, that would be heat to energize those particles?
Those particles not
Yeah, see,
expanding
what
into
they-
the space. That's correct. Yes.
Right. So what they say is that the hydrogen and helium is densely packed into, this given area, so dense that that it creates a plasma. Yeah, that's what they say. Where's the pressure coming from?
I don't want to interrupt, but this seems like a good time. So, is anybody familiar with Mike Fiera's work? Mike Fiera. Anybody familiar with his work?
No, not me.
Anybody?
Else? Tell us why you're bringing it up. No one's jumped in to say, oh, yeah, I know all about it. So just tell us.
Okay, well, it has a lot to do with the, we talk a lot about the nature of Earth, and earlier maybe not today, but in previous podcasts, we were talking about lightning and whether lightning go up from the Earth or down from the Earth, and we talked about that. Do you remember that?
No. Sorry.
Okay.
It does both.
So I would just like to recommend Mike Fiera's. He's not on YouTube, but he has like a Facebook group of the nature of Earth and like how those things could have came to being. So like Mike Fiera. That's it.
Cool. Well, thanks.
Yep. You're welcome.
Any more on this?
Nope. Mike Fiera is all I have to add on to this thing. Electricity going up or down, or like there was a whole, like I heard a whole thing about like electricity going whether the ground was to
Okay. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the center of a presupposed spherical Earth?
I'm just this doesn't have anything to do with a magnetic core, but just a magnetic Earth, like electronic magnetic Earth. That's what I'm trying to propose, I guess.
Sasha from the chat, super chat, says, if you use pseudoscience, you can empirically guess. Thank you for the super chat, Sasha. No, molten iron core? Yes, we have.
No, nothing there. Yeah. Nothing for the molten iron core.
Definitely not for the molten iron core. Definitely not.
No way.
Any scientific evidence of gravity?
No such thing.
Nope.
What's gravity?
Currently, the uneven distribution of mass causing the bending of pseudo space.
Oh, we made that up, Nathan. That's us. That's QE. That's you. We made it up.
What I was trying to bring up is the electric universe. Like they say, we live in the electromagnetic universe. Like, so that's the concept I was trying to bring up.
Okay.
That's why when you flip over a magnet, it falls upwards.
The electric universe people are heliocentric, you realise. Clearly not. Another shout out to Unitox Femu. If you peel an apple, you know what it is in the centre. If you peel apple, you can know what it is in the centre. I think he's referring to if you dig down a little bit through the skin of Earth, then you know what's at the middle. So you've only got to peel the skin off the apple to know exactly how many seeds it's got, which is farcical. But that's what he's saying, I think. Thank you for the super chat.
Yeah, we got all 8 miles. We need to go other 3,000 and how much?
39.59.
Yeah, to reach that center. To say there is a molten iron core there.
Yeah, just with the concept of molten iron core and all those things, like the lightning going up and down, and what is like the grounding of electricity. Like anybody who's looked into Mike Fiera's research, I would look into that.
We heard Mike Fiera's name now 6 times. We got it.
Okay. Thank you, Tinselman.
I just asked once more time. You realise that you're directing people towards heliocentrists, though? Electric universe is a heliocentric methodology or model. Did you know that?
No, actually, Mike here, all his like speculation is he observed a flat Earth, and he's a flat earther. So no.
I stand corrected.
Right, it's more about the nature of the sun, electric universe theory. it kind of leaves open whether there is a space galaxy or whether it is
Exactly.
within the enclosed realm, right? It's just an idea
Like-
of like what's causing these lights, and it can apply
wanna hold on
to
to space.
any cosmology.
And this gets into like what the mountains are made of, like what like the current mountains, like he gets into all the ancient miner and electric like processes of electricity and lightning and a whole bunch of other things, but like that we could explain and get into this conversation that I think would help a lot. But I think what's his name? I can't remember his name. Damn. He would know a lot about this. That's just what I'm saying. Like,
Okie dokie. Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
No,
Nothing past observation. That's all they got. They can't apply the scientific method because they can't manipulate the independent variable.
How about dark matter?
Yeah, no. I agree.
What's dark matter?
It was damn.
Dark matter. It's something that exists because of a mathematical issue that was unresolvable. So it was conjured, and then they made it counter opposite to anything empirical, so that it could never be measured or inquired. That sounds legit science, right?
What? Just don't add it with don't add it with a sarcastic tone. Just, make the declaration about how it is nonsense as opposed to asking.
What I'm trying to bring up is the ancient miners, mud flood, like
we got it. We're on dark matter now. We got it.
And okay.
Yeah, you're just droning on now. You've already said it. Now we're on dark matter, how it's a mathematical fix to a mathematical problem.
Sure, but I want Arwin to say it because he posed it as a question.
No,
Oh
not.
my God. So, Arwin, can you just say it rather than pose it as a question? Thanks.
Dark matter?
No, about roast chicken. What the hell?
Oh, okay. Well,
ancient
you have to
miners
make sure that the chicken is properly gutted first, and then you put it in a well-heated oven, preheated perhaps or not. Make sure you check whether it is not overheating on one side. It keeps turning. Oh, sorry. Why wasn't I interrupted?
I closed that line because the guy can't shut up.
Yeah, dark matter, and why it is absolutely not science. It's the counter opposite of science, right? It's because it was conjured up to correct for a mathematical issue that makes no sense anymore in the aftermath anyway, because the whole formula had been discarded anyway. But they still keep it around. So then they conjured the concept of dark matter, and then they made it in such a way that it is absolutely impossible to ever confirm anything about it empirically, even if that were to be a possibility at some point, by making it completely undetectable and unmeasurable.
Well, where does it take place? Is it in pseudo-4 space by any chance?
No, officially it's not. It's supposed to be in the outer space galaxy in Euclidean outer space. It's not pseudo-Riemannian. It's still Einsteinian, if I'm not mistaken.
Einsteinian is pseudo-Riemannian.
Newtonian.
That's what pseudo-Riemannian is. When you talk about Einsteinian, that is pseudo-Riemannian.
Yeah, I slipped up. I meant Newtonian. I thought that dark matter was still based on Newtonian mechanics.
I don't think so. I'll have to check. I don't think so, Arwin. Moving on. Unless anyone wants.
No, but it's simply because gravity could never be made to work mechanically or mathematically with the outer space universe except through Newton, because Einstein mathematics can't calculate multiple bodies. So it must have all been routed in Newtonian mechanics.
Why do you say outer space universe? I thought in their model there was only one kind.
Yeah, Newton used Euclidean geometry, so there's no chance of space in Newton mechanics.
Guy,
are you kidding me?
All I wanted to bring up is because I listen to this show every single day. Like, I listen to this every day. All I wanted to bring up was the conversation of there was a conversation about lightning going up and down and
what are you
like where it comes from, like where the lightning, where the energy comes from, whether up or down, or damn, I can't think of the fuck. I'm sorry.
You did bring it up. But now it's time to let the show move.
Yeah, you did. But
okay.
You sound tired. Maybe get some sleep. Is it late where you are?
Yeah, I've been up 24 hours. I'm sorry.
You sound like you have, mate. Get some sleep.
Yeah. I know. I'm sorry. I listen to the show every single day
we heard.
for the past 5 years.
My friend,
and
without being rude.
Sorry, I just wanted to bring up a topic of someone brought up like lightning going up or lightning going down.
Sure, we heard.
And
okay. Currently, you've repeated that about 6 times, and you're kind of interrupting a bit. Now, I understand that you're very tired, but please don't let that destroy my live show. Pop yourself on mute unless you've got an answer to one of the questions. We're nearly done. Any evidence of the R value? That's Earth radius.
Equator line.
No, Arwin. There's no such animal. Bloody hellfire. You're going to keep doing this till I have some concise...
It's not a species.
Pardon?
Adam?
Somebody get him to show me the equator.
It's over there.
You can't show me. It doesn't exist. It's a derived location by way of celestial movement. Averages. It's not a physical location. It's not the outside edge of a sphere.
Well, it's a set designation now, so...
It's a designated...
regarded as the equator. The equator position isn't changing, right?
It hasn't got a position. That's the... Right. You're doing it deliberately. I can just sense it. There is no physical equator. There's no location you can direct me to. Now, I've been on the quote-unquote equator. It's not designated. It's based on an average that's derived and then arbitrarily ascribed to the ground. But there isn't anything on the ground. There is no equator that you can go to. You can go, look, I'm on the equator. Well, you can say geographically we have designated this line around a presupposition of a sphere as the equator. That doesn't mean there is one.
Right, it's just shadow-based average. That's it. So it's like, how do the shadows cast on average? Well, in this specific position everywhere on the Earth, that's where it is like maximized. That's where it all becomes averagely maximized. So yeah, it is arbitrary. It is an arbitrary assigned location, but very specifically based on the celestial orientations, which do not change except by their cyclical nature. So the derivative is very persistent.
So it sounds more like witchcraft than geography. The shadows move. Yeah, that's not a physical place I can measure, though, is it, Arwin?
Well, yeah, it is a physical place, and you can measure it. It's just you can only derive that it is the equator based on the celestial orientation. You can't just see it from the matter on the location itself.
Right, so you can't see
maybe
it
by average sun exposure and all that.
Right, so you can't see it. You can only derive it and then arbitrarily ascribe it to the ground based on averages of celestial movements. So it's a derivation, not a measurement, on the ground. Exactly as I've stated now about 4 times. Please, can we move on?
Right. So there is an equator length.
No,
Arwen.
I never said we measured it physically. Why would you have to?
You did.
It's persistent, isn't it?
You did. You said you can measure it, and then you went on to say how you can derive it directly after saying you could measure it.
No, first you derive it, and then you measure how that makes the Earth a sphere.
And presuppose. Right, can we move on?
Please.
The ball wins.
I just knew it was coming. That's why I paused. I'm not going to get to interrupt me on this one. Any evidence that you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container to press upon?
Absolutely not.
Gravity, somehow. Supposedly. So ballers think until you question them about it.
You are moving also in one direction, 66,000 miles per hour.
Are we? Says who?
No, he said gravity. Gravity cannot stop that.
Yeah, it has no effect on entropy. Any more for any more?
No, let's get through it. This is a weird Monday.
It's you can only have scientific evidence of something if you know what it is. You know, it's difficult.
Well said. So, in terms of the assertion that we have a natural law violation, gas not filling an availability of volume it has to fill, what evidence can we have of that? In other words, is there any demonstrations of gas pressure without a container? Quick shout out to Tony Whitcomb, who says, dark matter comes from dark minds of man. No validation of it, never can be shown. Thank you for the super chat, Tony.
Right, dark matter is like a cosmic turd.
Or a
they
fart in a
shit it out themselves in their minds.
I prefer the red dwarf analogy. It's like a fart in a jacuzzi.
Okay.
I think that's it. Did we cover all the housekeeping questions? I believe so.
Right. I have a question, though, about dark matter. Does it actually expand in all directions like gas does?
I don't know. I mean, I made it up.
I think Bev has something substantive to share.
I do believe so. Hey, Bev, how's it going?
Fine, thanks. Fine, thanks.
Your message earlier. Exciting times.
Yeah. We've been out doing the final testing now. Good again. A few camera problems to iron out, but yeah, we're now in the position to be able to put people in Discord behind the auto level, behind the crosshairs of the auto level, and to understand exactly the process of how people use the tools and what the purpose of the tools are, and exactly how far you are able to use these tools to an acceptable level. You'll be able to see it. We also got 2.5 kilometers. We took the measuring wheel this time and measured straight out on the beach. Southport walk 2.5 kilometers straight out.
Okay, if we work on the assumption that nobody's listened to the last time you were here and they have no idea what you're talking about, can you, tedious though it may seem, go through it in its entirety, what you're trying to achieve, how the phraseology is relevant, getting under the horizon? Can you go through all of it?
Yeah. Okay, right. So when I first, I was on Twitter 5 or 6 years ago, and I got into a conversation with some people that said that the horizon rises to eye level, and I said, no, it doesn't. It can't be. It doesn't. It can't do. It doesn't do that because horizontals don't rise to each other. They stay at horizontal. They may appear to in the distance, but they definitely don't rise at all. So from then, I've been drawn into this arena that we are in at the minute. And it has become increasingly harder to try and explain to people exactly what level is and exactly how it works. So the best way we can try and describe it, I mean, we've tried to show people at the water levels and the canals and all of this sort of stuff that, you know, it's obviously a horizontal plane. It's even described as such in the dictionaries. It's used as such in practical terms in surveying. So it seems to be really difficult to be able to show people. So what we've developed is a way to put people from you know, normal, be able to have a look at what actually happens on the level and give the like a practical sort of experience as about as good as you could get without you actually being there. I mean, it's not as good as the practical experience of what you achieve by actually doing it. But I mean, this is about as close as you get. And to be honest, I think the view that you see through the camera that's on the lens, through Discord on a big TV screen it's much better than you actually see through your eye. So you get a better view through the camera, you know, through the auto level than you would normally do. But it's just reading measurements. So what we did was we've set this at an auto level up with
just one sec. Sorry. Any chance you can put some visuals up because you're getting into the meat and to veg of it now, right? So can you pop something up? Can you present your screen just so it's visually presented so people know what you're actually talking about? As much as you're great verbally, you know, I'm following along nicely. I know what you're talking about.
I don't know how to do that. What do you want me to put up? I said I haven't really got any videos or anything up yet. I've not got anything prepared other than that one I've sent you.
I'll do
the drone footage.
Okay,
but I mean, there's I've put some stuff in Master B. Some of the pictures through the auto level. If you
perfect, no, you're way ahead of me. That's you won't see them, but I've got them up for the audience, starting with the one with you and someone else standing next to you.
Yeah, okay. That's me and DP. DP decided to come and get under the horizon this time. So what it is we've set the auto the camera up on the auto level, and that's just looking out towards it's sort of the Isle of Man from Southport out across the, you know, out into the open bay. And we just walk out in a straight line. And the crosshairs, you can see there's two pictures there. If you got both of them, right?
Yeah, I've got the first one with the crosshair.
Right, the one you can see the crosshair, and the other one, the crosshair goes faded, but you can see the focus of us in the distance. So that's the same. But I mean, that's to show that the distance away, the crosshairs are actually within the scope, but we are far beyond the usage of that instrument, other than, you know, to just look through the scope of it. But you get to see the drop and all of that. But I mean, we'll be doing further studies into that. But yeah, that's what we do. We put the camera on the auto level. I've also got a camera on my phone, so you can get to see what I see from my side, and you know, like, you get to be able to talk to us and what's going on. You see that the workable range, I think everybody decided at this time, was around 100 meters, you know, to be able to optically view what to a millimeter accuracy. And then there's something else that happens in the drop in the distance. But basically what we're doing is you can see that we drop out, and all of that 5 meter measuring rod is underneath the crosshairs of the auto level. So that means we've dropped above 4 meters as we drop out into the distance. But the horizon behind us, which we call is the true horizon, the water level, is above our heads, showing that and even that is below the horizontal crosshairs. So I don't know, to me it's an amazing picture to be able to do that. I can't see how you were meant to go over that at a distance of whatever, because I seem to be, like I say, we're 2.5 kilometers away, and we've just got lower.
Okay, you said earlier that you can get involved and you were sort of encouraging people, but you didn't exactly plug your server or where people can find you. Can you do that as well, please?
Oh, right. It's Next Level on Discord. And yeah, we'll be doing mainly stuff on the Try Thinking YouTube channel. But if anybody wants to come and get involved, it's on the Next Level Discord server. That's where we do go live, and we'll be doing all of this live stuff and interaction. People can come in and get involved, ask us any questions, and so we can show people what we're doing. We've got some other tests coming up involving some other things, but this is just the beginning to show what we can do. And like, because of that beach as well, I mean, that beach is a long beach, and we're walking down it, right, towards the tide, but you could walk along it, in which case it would all be pretty much at the same level, so you could have a nice straight, like, if we just aimed ourselves in a different direction, which we might be doing at some other point, we would get a longer walk away, possibly six miles or something like that. You never know.
You're going to walk it?
Well, we could do. I mean, we could get a few of us. I mean, that's the idea, is to get. There's a lot of people seems to be in this particular area with P1000s, P900s, and people that want to get involved in all sorts of stuff. So, I mean, that's what we're opening it up for.
Perfect.
Just come down.
Perfect. Plug your Discord server, YouTube channel once more, then I've just got a quick shout out to a super chat. But thank you very much, Bev, for presenting that, explaining it.
Thank you. Have you seen that other video that I give you?
Just shout out your server name, YouTube channel, just once more, really clearly.
Okay, it's Discord, Next Level on Discord, and the YouTube channel's Try Thinking.
Perfect. Just a quick shout out from Drunken Bullet 411, who says, "Arwin, check your PayPal and have a beer on me." Shut up, Nathan. Thank you very much for the super chat, Drunken Bullet 411. Abuse on multiple levels whilst giving me money. I absolutely love it. Excellent. So yeah, go and check out Bev's server.
Good morning, guys.
You might want to get involved. You might actually end up being in one of these photos and figuring out how we view things, which is all you're doing. You're just having a look at the world, right? And it is amazing. We live in an amazing world. We've just been deceived about what it is and how it works and how we should calculate things we see in pictures. Hijacking of perspective, all of those good things. Now, I'm not saying you have to have an appreciation of all those things to get involved. It might be that you're just curious to see what's going on. But nevertheless, you can get involved from the server, so you don't actually have to be out on the beach doing this stuff, walking 6 miles, in this case, a couple of K. You can just get involved by being in the server and asking a few questions. So hopefully you do grow your server. I hope you get more people involved, and I hope more people go out with their cameras. Doesn't matter if it's P1000s or anything else for that matter. But it's nice that there are people with good equipment that's obviously almost custom made for doing this, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's only the optics bit. I mean, we never really wanted to get involved in the optics until I went to a car park and took a picture. Then that sort of brought us in, as the person who brought us in there has gone running away. But that was only the Saturday. On the Sunday was the better one. Was I went out and stretched out the 400-meter water level along the side of the canal. That's
what I thought you were going to talk about here, but I didn't know to prompt you, because I didn't know if it was something you were keeping under your, what they say, under your hat.
Well, I say the testing has been ongoing for quite a while. I mean, if anybody knows what we do, we've been doing this sort of stuff for a year or so.
Okay, let's just stop. Okay, explain what people might assume they know what you mean when you say water level. Just explain precisely what that is.
It's any device utilizing the surface of liquid water. Thus, the water establishes an equilibrium of even pressure across the surface. call that a zero baseline right across the surface. So that I say that's a horizontal plane. Other people say otherwise, but all that's needed in order to do and use this tool is like a tube, call it a garden hose, or any sort of tube. So the question came to us as, how do you establish a water level, and what is needed in order to establish a water level? And I immediately thought, or came to the conclusion, that the only thing that matters is that vertical drop. So a water level will establish a level with neither end of the tube, the water in the tube, being neither higher nor lower than the other end. So it establishes an equilibrium.
Right.
The question came is to what happens in the middle. But if it's a tube, then the middle doesn't really matter, in that position with the water level. So after talking to people who went crazy about, what exactly happens with the water level and how it works, because it's old school, right? Being able to stretch out a thing of water and have it be a horizontal, that's old school. There's new tech stuff now. So yeah, the mission came, and then people started giving us calculations of stuff, of supposed drop from horizontal of the water level, which I thought was a little bit strange. So we devised a geometric method in order to tell.
Stop. So hold on.
I'm rambling.
You've just spent a couple of minutes explaining how the whole purpose of the water level is to establish if there is any drop, and if you understand the principles of what water would do, it would go to one end if there was drop. But then you've got people who are explaining to you how it incorporates essentially a drop, when that's precisely the thing it's trying to negate or show that there is, so you can negate it, correct?
Yeah. People actually said that.
Yeah, who are these people? Who are these people? Not names, but are they of a particular breed? If you know what I mean.
Well, the first one claims to be a surveyor. That's why I was so surprised. I mean, a lot of people say a lot of strange things, but yeah, I've had some pretty supposedly high-ranked people tell me this. I mean, I'm not making it up. This is literally what they say. Has to happen, you realise.
Sure, but if you're detailing a tool that's sole purpose is to establish level, as crude as you're saying, it's old school, it's crude, it's basic, yeah, but it's establishing a fundamental principle that would show you if there was drop or not. And you're saying there's a particular type of person that's telling you, no, it will incorporate curve. What's the word you use? I think it's beautiful. Bendizontal, I think is what you use.
Yeah.
Right. So what I'm suggesting is that beyond a religious belief of being on a sphere-shaped Earth, i.e. the Earth curving away from you, there is no need to describe the antithesis of what a tool does. There's no requirement to do that. I don't see any need to describe a tool that has a purpose, negating its own purpose, other than to establish a religious belief in Earth curving away when you can measure it flat.
Yeah. Yeah, like I say, when I first came into this and went into my first debate with Fight the Flat Earth, you might say, he told me that straight lines curve. And now he is well ahead of his time when he first said that, because I was flabbergasted. I didn't know what to say. When that was his opening line to where we were debating straight lines and level. And he said, well, straight lines curve. And just the other day, we had a guy.
Literally delusional.
Yeah, we had a guy who come round the other day that told us a horizontal is a circle. It has to be for these people. They're crazy. But, that's what's required. Once you get into the geometric argument, then the only way out is bendizontal. Horizontal circles.
Perfect. You're going just where I want you to. So what you're saying is the only place you can go to if you're a sphere-believing fundamentalist religious zealot when measuring Earth as flat is to assert that flat is actually bent, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah. They have to believe that a two-dimensional surface actually wraps around the surface of a sphere. That is, every surface you can see and touch is two-dimensional to them. They're the literal flat earthers, telling you.
Well, they're dealing with a world that is obviously measurably and observably flat, and then having to explain why it's measured flat. And that's because flat means bent to them. Flat means curved. Horizontal isn't horizontal, it's actually a circle. As absurd as that may seem, that's what you are required to do if you have a fundamentalist religious belief in a sphere and are shown by someone like Bev that it isn't measuring drop, it's measuring flat. And the principle that shows you drop is showing it's flat. And they say, no, the principle that would show you drop doesn't show you drop because it incorporates drop, because bent isn't bent, it's actually straight. Or the antithesis, straight is actually bent, horizontal is actually bendizontal. Quick shout out to Unicorn Laser Eyes, who says, Bev has taken the fight to Ranty Flat Water's backyard. Good on you, Bev. Thank you very much for the super chat, Unicorn Laser Eyes.
Yeah, he came out of hiding this morning.
Well, I don't know if that's strictly true, and you did vaguely hinted it earlier, which was to say that you were at a particular car park because you were directed in that particular way by a particular individual that wasn't Ranty, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, well, Ranty gave him Ranty found a picture on Facebook and then went, I've stared at this for 200 hours, Cats. I haven't got a clue what's going on. And then Cats made the video about it, yeah.
What, 200 hours? What are you talking about?
Ranty found a picture on Facebook and stared at it for 200 hours, trying to figure out what was going on. And in the end, he decided that the mountains were like under the feet somewhere in the dirt.
Did he say that?
He stared at it for the better part of a week.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know how long. It might have been over months because Ruhif was making some sort of a model or something. So obviously Ruhif had something to do with it. Yeah, it's been in the works for quite a while, all of this sort of stuff with Ranty and him not taking
pictures. They stared at a picture for 200 hours just to try to figure out that the horizon's actually...
in the middle of the picture, he thinks it is. You can't see the mountains and see it's a topographic horizon. Oh, no. He has to put it in the middle of the picture. No, it's no wonder he's turned Ranty.
Sorry, without the sarcastic tone. Don't want to have to give you the same lecture I gave Arwin. Just say it like it is, right?
Yeah. Ranty literally thinks the horizon is in the middle of the picture. He went into a debate and had a debate with Whitsitt, and Whitsitt agreed with him. It was in the middle of the picture. I don't know what to say. I mean, Ranty says the bottom of the mountain isn't where it should be, and I can't get him to talk to us because they're all running. They've all not got a clue about actually what happens in reality.
Yeah, they're used to referencing a begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator, and even when they're trying to burn a straw man of what they say we claim when they're saying it, as I say, burning a straw man, they refer to how much drop they're going to require, or assert that should or shouldn't be there, from the begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator, which has nothing to do with reality. It's in Muppet vision. You see the side of your own head, and it has no perspective. So when it comes to them actually looking at the world that's around them, they haven't got a clue. They're lost without their begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator, as demonstrated by them constantly referring to how many feet should or shouldn't be there, based on their reference of the begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator, which we've debunked. They don't have an R value to beg the question of this begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator anymore. To reference these values, you'd need a geometric horizon. It's been debunked by the Black Swan.
Well, I can't work out how it could possibly be over the top of my head if it's
falling away
to be on a curve and dropping away from me. I really don't get it. Like there's something really wrong in those pictures that we've been doing in Southport. if, as claimed, it's meant to be dropping away from you at every point.
Precisely. Well said. Dropping away from you? No, clearly, evidently not. This isn't what we are told is the world we see in Muppet Vision. Based on the begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator, Earth should drop away at 8 inches per mile squared. It's not what it does. We have optical effects, not optical effects removed, seeing the side of your own head and drawing one single straight line between you and a tangent point we've debunked with the black swan. The whole Earth curve premise is dead.
But Nathan, how can it do that if it's locally flat? How could it also simultaneously be dropping away from us in every direction?
Optical effect.
If we're told it's locally flat.
Yeah, well, they're locally flat, still uses their optical geometry removed, begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator. It's still going to reference a datum that's assuming that 8 inches per mile squared drop from every position. So when you do that, you've still got the same exact mathematics to conform to, and you can't. We've debunked it.
Yeah, the problem is they can't have a horizontal being a line. If it's more than 1 point, they're gone. Their model is nothing, and that's why a horizontal has to be a circle. It cannot be any length of a straight line, because that can be produced at any length, at any, and then it's a horizontal line, and that sort of seems to debunk the model, especially when you have tools that establish horizontals. And horizontal being
apparently all those tools have been invented for naught, right? Because now we're being told level is not actually level, it's actually curved, and that's what these levels were created for. So the whole fact of liquids having the surface flat, that's been negated because we'll think that straight is curved. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, but in terms of the practical application of this, observing it flat, measuring it flat, levelling it out, and then building on it, just go and look at a wide expanse of city and see how flat it actually is. Now, they say, oh, locally flat. No, just flat. That's how it's been built on.
Yeah, it's the area that we live.
We got to tell those guys to go back and redo it all, because apparently they didn't take into consideration that their levels were measuring curve.
Yeah, but taking into consideration curve and actually dealing with the ground that we dwell atop are very different things. Arguing about where the curve should be accounted for and calculated when they're actually building on flat territory is nigh on irrelevant, because what they say, that would be trench level fundies, versus what we experience are completely at odds with each other. And when we get to the point where they accept some of the realities of the measuring of our flat plane we dwell atop, they will tell us that we have bendizontal. Well, they say a lot. Doesn't mean that we're not dwelling atop a flat plane. We are, measurably, observably, obviously flat.
We do live on a plane. This little bit, it's, I guess you could say it's flat enough that they can build a 27-mile stretch of canal and not need any locks on it. So that's got to be pretty, I'd say flat, but I mean, other people say curved, don't they?
That's got to be devastating, is what it is.
Mm.
It almost shows you why they have to go or run back into a state of delusion and just say things like levels curved, because you have canals, you have things that just blatantly show you how flat it is, how liquids work, and you have the audacity to tell us that it's different when we can just see it, measure it. I mean,
that's why the 400 meter.
Doing this with these guys, bro.
we got the 400 meter water level, right? So if it goes 400 meters and I say that's level, well, they have numbers and calculations that need to be done. Now, the water level is pretty accurate. I mean, without a micrometer fitted to it, you could easily get to 1 or 2 millimeters to get rid of that meniscus. You could go within that, but I mean, the calculated curvature rate is so-called, we've been told by Ruhif, over 400 meters is 12.6 millimeters, near half an inch.
I've opened up the live stream chat, so if you're watching this live right now, you can share your pain in the chat. Or we could all go silent for a moment.
No Globers? No Globers in Discord here to tell us how level is curved?
Oh, I'm here. I didn't realize I'd been unmuted.
Oh, you're going to tell us how level is curved? Hello?
Am I going to tell you how level is curved? I don't know. I don't plan on it.
You don't plan on it? Yeah, have you been following the conversation?
Sounds like something you disagree with. I try to avoid leading off with something somebody might disagree with.
Have you been following the conversation to know why he asked you that?
I've been listening a bit. I must admit I got confused because I was stuck in the sort of waiting queue, and then I switched to voice chat, and then I came back here. If you can catch me up, it'd help.
Well, no, what do you want to say?
You had like that type of reaction to what I said, because it almost sounded like what I said was kind of silly when I said level is curved. Like, do you agree with that, or do you think that's actually a factual statement?
Level is curved. I don't know. I guess it's probably down to definitional things, isn't it? Like, how does one define a thing? I'm not sure. I don't. If somebody said what's level, I'd probably go for something straight.
Yeah, I do.
So let's start defining then. What's level in your definition?
He just said it's a level.
I'd probably say perpendicular to down. Like I'd get a plumb line and I'd go, what's perpendicular to that? And that'd probably be good enough for me.
Like horizontal is perpendicular to vertical. That sort of a deal.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds reasonable to me.
So level would be horizontal then. Brilliant.
Level would be horizontal then. Yeah, that sounds reasonable to me.
So that wouldn't be the same thing as a curved line, right?
I guess it depends. It would depend on my purposes. It doesn't sound to me. Yeah, at a local level, I wouldn't say that's going to be curved.
Depends on purpose.
Dude, level is level. It's not curved.
Guys, can you hear him talking?
Fine.
Hello?
It's not curved. All right.
Hello? Can you hear him talking?
I don't know. If somebody gets excited, they can speak up if they want, I guess.
Yeah, thanks for that. So, essentially, the majority of the side that Beb's arguments put to suggests that level is actually curved. Now, you're saying, no, that doesn't seem reasonable, but that's where the argument ends when we point out that Earth's obviously observably and measurably flat. They tell us level's curved. That's why we're asking. Now, if you're saying, no, that seems unreasonable, we'd agree. But Earth is obviously observably and measurably flat then.
Obviously, observably, and measurably. I mean, in terms of obviously, I would say, yeah, it appears to me, if I look at it, it appears to me to be flat. Measurably, I'm not sure about that. I guess it would depend how you measure it. I've certainly never measured curvature.
Can you show us anyone who has? Can you show us measured drop at 8 inches per mile squared? Could you show us that?
Even the method, we'll have a go at.
I did ask my dad this one, and I said, I've been talking to flat earthers lately. What would you say seems to indicate that the Earth is spherical? And he said a sextant. He navigated by sextant regularly.
That's
I've
fascinating.
not heard a compelling.
Sure. That's
compelling
fascinating. Sure, fascinating stuff.
Say again, sorry?
Yeah, that's fascinating, but that's completely not what I asked.
Right. Okay. No, I've not. I don't know of anybody who's measured 8 inches per mile squared.
That's the fundamental premise of Earth being a sphere, though. You'd think that would be really easy to acquire, would you not?
I think it'd be easy to. No, I don't think it'd be easy. I think that'd be very difficult. I think that'll require extraordinary amounts of precision over great distances.
Right, like Bev's using. That's like part of what we were discussing when you joined the conversation was about how we're measuring it.
Awesome. Tell me about that.
It's flat.
Can I?
I'll just tell you. I'll just tell him. I'll just tell him. It's flat.
Right.
Well, that's the point, really, because like mountains go up, and then when you're at the top of a mountain, it goes down. So it's not hard to measure the Earth curving because that's what surveyors do. You know, elevation rises on the vertical, right? It goes up and it goes down.
Mm.
That's reference towards a mean sea level, right? As it is in most places.
Mm-hmm.
You understand that? So actually measuring that land going up and down, that's, you know, that's been done, obviously, hasn't it? That's definitely been mapped. That's how they make topographic maps.
Right.
And they know the terrain and they know where the water lies in the flat spots because, you know, they can sort drainage out and do all of that sort of stuff. So it's not that particular Earth curvature that we're talking about here. In particular, I'm been told about the water curving, right? Because that would be the only place you could find it. This fabled curvature is on the water surface. Would you agree to that?
Yeah, certainly that's the place I'd look because, yeah, topographically, locally, or even over great distances, I guess land is a bad way to go about it, isn't it? Because you could just go going uphill gently and then downhill gently, whereas water seems to have that habit of in a glass or in a spirit level or something just lies flat. That's how that works.
Right. So if the water is to curve, how would you imagine it curves? Is it always dropping away from you? Or does it sort of rise up and have a hump in the middle of the two ends that are level of a water level? Imagine like a canal that has got...
I've got to admit, the thing has always confused me. The thing has always been beyond my ability to sort of just get. Sort of on a sort of level of does it just sort of instinctively make sense to me? The answer, if that's the question you're asking, the answer is no, it doesn't.
Okay. With that, though, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you first and foremost to both Discord and G+ Pals for making today's live show possible. If you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Also, below this video, you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. Massive thanks to all of you who smashed the super chat. I've been Nathan Oakley. Stay tuned if you're watching on a premiering stream, and I'll see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!
That it proved a sphere. Yeah, gibberish.
A sextant, what?
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't.
It
never makes any sense, does it? And it's meant to get you into that conversation where you don't, like you're inquiring as to what he meant, and yeah.
Well, what I was going to say is what he should have meant is that the geographical position of each star is relative to a position on Earth. That's what a sextant proves. It doesn't prove it's a sphere.
Sure.
Yeah.
That I think is true. What it seems to indicate, at least when I talked to my dad about it, was that you've got a south celestial pole, and that will give you a celestial south pole. Sorry, you've got a Southern Cross that'll give you a celestial south pole, and from that you can navigate, and on a flat plane to have two poles, unless it could be explained to me. I've asked that question a few times. I haven't got an answer.
Sorry, just beyond your what a flat plane might or might not do. How does it prove a sphere again?
Mm-hmm. It doesn't prove a sphere. That I would absolutely agree with you on. Yeah, I wouldn't suggest it proves a sphere.
I don't understand why bring it up then.
Because it seems to me suggest anything but a plane on which we're all on the same side of. It seems that some of us get a Polaris and some of us get a Southern Cross. We could be on a dodecahedron, we could be on a cube, we could be on anything but a flat plane on which we're all on the same side. That's what I think. Anyway,
you're not a sphere.
Right.
But you're not describing. The first thing you said is it doesn't prove a sphere, which is why we're here, right? You want to talk about all the other things that it might be, could be, possibly, but not what it doesn't prove.
Yeah, I can only tell you the one thing it's not.
It's definitely not a sphere.
Which is a sphere.
Please, hang on one second. Please tell me how a sextant, how you use the sextant right there to say South Pole, North Pole. What does a sextant have to do with the presupposition of a sphere?
So what being able to use a sextant in south of the equator suggests to me is
hang on. I must stop you. I must stop you.
Yeah, sure, go for it.
You're begging the question already. Please tell me how a sextant works.
Sure. Sextant will give you, if you've got an accurate watch, and a sextant will give you by getting your azimuth and to a known point, and knowing your time will tell you where due south is, from which you can work out where to head.
Okay.
I'll tell you where you
let
are.
me
Sorry, I beg your pardon.
No, you're a little bit up. A sextant gives you an angle, yes or no?
Sextant gives you an angle. I believe you get an angle. Yes, sorry. I guess what you're saying.
What do you get an angle of when you use the sextant? Okay, forget what you're using it on. Forget we're on the sphere. Forget all that stuff. When you pull out a sextant and you use it at a star to sight a star, you have to sight that star to a baseline. The baseline is set at 0. That 0 is the horizon. You get an angle. Think of a protractor. Okay, you need two straight lines to achieve an angle of any type. So when the sextant's being used, an angle is achieved of the star or the sun or the moon from where its geographical position is over the Earth, its zenith, its vertical, to where you are observing it, thus the angle. Now tell me how that works on a curve.
Yeah, so to clarify, I wasn't claiming I've used a sextant. I was saying I'd asked my dad about it.
Okay.
What I understand it to be is it works just fine on the flat Earth map with a North Pole, a Polaris. I have yet to hear how it could work on a South Pole with a star.
Right.
What do you mean on a map?
I suppose the question.
It doesn't preclude to agree with you. It doesn't preclude the possibility of us living on a plane, but it doesn't, to me, make sense. It could be explained, but I haven't heard a reasonable explanation.
Sure, but I think you sidestepped his point a little bit. His point is that in order to get this angle, how can you do that on anything other than a flat plane? Could you explain that for us, based on acquiring these two straight lines? Well, unless the one,
so we can look at the horizon.
My bad. You sidestepped it, and then you're going to interrupt it being summarised. I see. I don't really understand why you do that. Yeah, I'm still talking, still in the middle of this sentence. That's right.
Go for it.
Yeah, don't need permission. I need you to shut your mouth. That's right. You're still talking. That's right. While I'm still talking, summarising what you sidestepped and then started interrupting the summary of. So, I'm asking how you would actually do this if it wasn't flat. How you could do it in any other way. Because as far as I can see, it has to be flat to do this. And maybe you can explain that.
Sure. My understanding of what you need is a horizon. Unless there's a suggestion that a globe wouldn't have a horizon. Is that the idea?
And we're drawing a straight line to it, correct? A straight line to it to get 0, correct?
Yeah, straight line to where you see the sun meets the sky.
So not a curved line, not a dodecahedron. So not a curved line, not a dodecahedron line, but a straight line. So this has got to be straight then. So it's got to be flat. Not can't work on flat, has to be flat for this to work. Quite the contrary of what you stated.
No, that's not my understanding of it at all.
Okay, do you want to explain on a dodecahedron? Stop. Do you want to explain how we get this straight line to get 0 on a dodecahedron, please?
Sure. Yeah. Wherever you're looking, where you're looking, generally speaking, excluding refraction, is going to be a straight line.
So not a dodecahedron then. So straight then. So wherever we're looking, it's going to be straight. So flat. Not curving away. Not a dodecahedron. You said it could be a dodecahedron, but you're telling me how now it could just only be straight and flat then. So far we've got you saying couldn't be flat, but yet we're definitely going to be measuring it and utilising the assumption of it being flat, and it has to be to get a straight line. So it could only be flat.
I'm sorry. It sounds like I've upset you. I certainly didn't mean to upset you.
Oh, right. It upsets me when people ignore the question and maybe address my state of being. I don't really understand why you'd address my state of being rather than addressing the fact that so far you've detailed how this could only work as you interrupt me. You seem very upset to the point where you need to interrupt me. Are you very upset about the fact that you can only do this on a flat plane? To the point where you need to interrupt me and detail my state of being rather than address the fact that this can only be done on a flat plane? Maybe address my state of being again, or interrupt me summarising it.
Okay. All right. I guess I'll be quiet for a bit.
Or you could address how this could only be done on a flat surface, given that you need a straight line to do it, not dodecahedron or sphere, which is what you've asserted. Now you think you need to shut up. No, you could concede that this could only be done if it was flat. That's the 4th time I've said it.
I think that regardless of the shape, could be a dodecahedron.
Regardless of the shape, no, it has to be flat in order to do this. That's an aspect, not a shape. We're not talking about shape, we're talking about aspects. We need a straight line. That's not a shape. And not immediately ignore it by saying regardless of the shape when you've said it could work on a dodecahedron, you've asserted a shape. Now you want to go away from that given that it could only be done on a flat plane. No, not regardless of the shape. Don't ignore my point and segue away from it. Address the fact that this could only be done on a flat surface. That's the 5th time. You're going to segue away for a 6th time? What's going to happen next, mate? Maybe shut down completely, tell me that you shouldn't. Maybe constantly interrupt it.
Sounds like you've gotten real upset.
No, maybe constantly interrupt it so you don't have to listen to it. Take option 3. Talk through me so you don't have to respond to it when I repeat it for a 6th time.
I'm happy to respond. Totally happy to respond any time now.
Okay, I'll repeat it so we can get it clear from my audience. We'll see if you get triggered enough to immediately interrupt me rather than listen to me. So I'll try again. 6th attempt. See if he immediately interrupts.
Okay, go for it.
So this could only be done on a flat plane. Couldn't be done on a dodecahedron or a sphere. You need to require a 0 line with a straight line to it. So only could be done on a flat surface. Contrary to what you said, which it couldn't be done on a flat surface and could be done on a dodecahedron. Do you want to address your complete nonsense? Because that's not correct. It could only be done on a flat surface, mate. Maybe with a smile so you don't think I'm in any sort of mood with you.
So when I say a straight line, what I'm defining is the shortest distance between 2 points. Unless we're going to suggest 2 points can only exist on a flat plane, I think 2 points and the straight line between them can exist in any 3D space.
He's invoking the geometric horizon. He's invoking the geometric horizon without invoking the geometric horizon.
What's the point you're measuring? Is it a physical point?
Huh?
The 2 points, the straight line that you're drawing between 2 points. What 2 points?
Hang on, I thought have we gone away from this point that this could work on a dodecahedron or not? Do we want to settle that one? Or we can talk then about the geometric horizon if you want. I just thought we were on a specific point. And it sounded like you were upset if people backpedal away from points.
Oh, you seem to be talking about my state of mind again rather than letting me respond after your point, which is that, no, we're still drawing a straight line to it, not a curved line. Seems to have gone silent. Are you very upset about this or something?
Sextant works. If
Am I
I could
upset
have...
about it?
Well, you've gone very quiet. I assume you're upset. I just like divining people's state of mind by how they respond to my question, or in this case, the lack of response. I assume your lack of response is because you're upset. about the straight line that you're going to be needing?
Show, I didn't turn up here to annoy you. I just wanted to hear about it because I've heard a lot about your show. I didn't want to turn up and immediately piss you off, and it sounded like my answers had pissed you off a bit.
That's
so
all right. I'm not in the slightest bit pissed off, but you need a straight line now, don't you? You need a straight line.
Yeah, straight line, shortest distance between 2 points.
What points would they be?
Any points you pick, that's what a straight line is.
Which
Pick 2
points are we
points in a
picking in
straight
this
line is the
instance?
shortest distance between them.
And which points are we picking?
Well, with the sextant, there's 3 points you're going to be picking, which is going to be the sun or a particularly known point in the sky, like a south celestial pole. There's also horizon, and there's your eyeball. You make a triangle out of them, right? 3 points with straight line between all three of those points going to make a triangle.
So the bottom is straight then. The bottom of this triangle straight, not dodecahedron shape then. Straight lines on these triangles. The bottom one being straight, flat, level.
Yeah, I'm not suggesting one sees in a dodecahedron. That would be suggesting one sees.
Sorry. So to reiterate my point, as you waffle on about dodecahedrons, would be that the bottom of this triangle is going to be straight and flat then.
Yeah.
So flat. So far we've got a triangle for triangulation, and the bottom line's flat, not curved, not dodecahedron shape, just flat. So to have the bottom of the triangle work in this instance, it's going to need to be flat then. So it could only be done if that bottom line's flat then.
You've actually only got an angle. In order to make it a triangle, you're going to have to put a point on the end of those two lines, and you can't do that. You're just making an angle. Can't do anything with an angle.
I think that's actually a very good point. I'm sorry, I'm missing who's saying that. I've got to check the chat. I think you're actually bang right about that. Yeah, like I started off saying, I've never used a sextant. All I've done is read about it. I've not used a sextant myself, but I think you're quite right about that. You don't actually make a. Sure, go for it.
Do you know what geographical position means when it comes to celestial navigation with use of a sextant?
Yeah. Geographical position means with use of a sextant. No, I think would be the
okay. So
answer
let's
to that.
say we'll take your example. Let's say we take the sun. So you're on a sailboat and you see the sun in the sky, and you want to know the angle to that sun to you, but you got to go to the books, and the books tell you where that sun is every hour, every minute of each day. So the geographical position of that sun would be 90 degrees vertical to where the sun is directly overhead. It's not directly overhead of you because you got an angle to it. So you want to know where it's directly overhead. It's zenith position. That would be the geographical position of the sun. Where is it directly overhead on any part of this earth? Do you understand what that means now before I move on?
I'm not quite sure about it. To me,
Okay,
if the sun was
when the sun is directly over your head, if the sun is directly over your head, then
like
it's
at midday in
directly
summer, you
over.
mean?
Do you understand what directly over your head means?
Yeah, straight up. Yeah. 90 degrees
so the
from
sun
horizontal.
is
Sure.
Okay, so somewhere on the earth, the sun is directly over that spot of the earth. Is that easy enough to comprehend?
Yep, with you now. Yeah, I'm with you now. Sorry.
Okay, perfect. Okay, now that we got that, now you're on your boat and you pull out your sextant and you sight the sun and you use the horizon to achieve the angle. Now, there's something that they call a circle of equal altitude. Are you aware of that?
No, tell me about that.
All right, circle of equal altitude is that the sun's geographical position to you, it's the radius, but the circle of equal altitude would be the diameter. So someone opposite of you sighting the sun with the same angle would have the same distance. So draw a circle, put a dot in the middle. The sun is directly over the earth on that dot. Anywhere on that circle is the same angle to that sun, also converting into the same nautical miles distance from that geographical position. Are you following?
Hang on. So because I'm struggling a bit. So when you're standing directly under the sun, you could turn in 360 degrees and it would still be dead overhead. Is that the gist of it? No, I don't think I am getting you, if I'm honest.
Okay, let me have a bash just quickly, 10th. So if it's above your head, it's 90 degrees to your position overhead, right?
Yep.
That's where its
Yep,
GP would be at that particular... You don't need to talk. Maybe if you shut up while people talk. That's the GP currently above your location. However, it's over there somewhere. That's its GP below where it's positioned. So its GP is the ground below wherever it is. And to triangulate it, we're going to be drawing a straight line out to it. Yeah? With a straight line down from the sun to the ground where it is at its GP. Follow?
Sure, okay, yeah.
Right. Well, he's describing what's called a circle of equal altitude. You know what equal altitude means? Do you know what a circle is? Well, he's got a circle around him, and anywhere that you can draw the sun's GP in that position is above a circle of equal altitude. Why? Well, because we're going to be drawing the bottom of that triangle along that line to its GP. All level, all Yeah, mate, I'll try for a third time. When I talk, the dumb person, that's you, that doesn't understand this, needs to shut up and listen and try and understand and comprehend rather than flapping your gums. That's why you don't understand, because you talk when you should listen. So try not to interrupt. Try and pin back your ears, close your mouth, and listen. There's going to be a straight line drawn for this triangle. You're going to be working out an angle from your position to the GP of whatever you're measuring. And in a circle all around you is, quote, equal altitude. Another way of saying that would be flat. Not, and I repeat, not, curving away from you at 8 inches per mile squared. Flat, equal altitude in all directions. For this to work, it must be flat. Comprende? Do you understand? Straight line to GP.
Yeah, I think I do. I think I do. It sounds like a complex concept, but I think...
Oh, I don't want to upset you or anything that you're dumb and you don't get this stuff that you've come here to talk about after talking to your dad about a bloody sextant. Yeah, I don't want to upset you or anything, but you are ignorant. Yeah? Don't flap your gums.
Certainly.
That's rhetorical. I mean, shut up and listen to the people who do understand this stuff. That's us. We're not irritated with you. Quite the contrary. We're amused by your stupidity. Contrary to your belief that there's somehow some upset going on while we educate people who think they're on a sphere based on what their daddy told them. That would be you, the clown here.
Bring your dad in here.
He died. Sorry, he died last month.
Oh, really? I don't believe a word you say.
Nope.
Yeah, I don't believe you.
I
don't believe you. Yeah?
I can show you.
I don't believe you. And if you're going to continue to talk about death on my show, I'm going to kick you out. If you're here a day after your father's death, debating the nature of reality rather than worrying about the fact that your family might be in absolute pieces over this, then you are a monster. You seriously want me to believe that a day after your own father's death, you're here debating the nature of reality and interrupting the host? You're a monster then. You're a monster then. Go and mourn with your family, monster.
This is so amusing.
You're laughing about this, are you? Your father died yesterday and yet you find this amusing? Kick this monster out of my show. Liar. Also, I will call you that. You are a liar.
It's just, I mean, I'm happy to show you any of it.
Yeah, you want to pretend and feign that somehow you've got some emotion in your voice. You're pathetic, you're a poor actor, and you're a liar.
I said over a month ago. It sounded like you did.
Now you sound like you're lying even more.
Okay, what would you like me to show you? I can show you.
I'd like you to comprehend the actual point rather than obfuscating away with deaths in your family. The straight line between you and the GP of this star or celestial body is straight and flat and described as a circle of equal altitude. Do you understand that?
I think I understand the idea of the circle.
Right, maybe you need to go away and have a little read of it and then come back when you're a little less ignorant. Do you think you could do that for us?
Maybe.
Yeah, you're struggling to comprehend the concepts we're putting down here. This is a bit advanced for you. I think you should go away. Maybe brush up on this stuff.
Sure. There's an article.
Yeah, I don't really care about you stuttering, repeating nonsense. Yeah, I don't care.
Okay.
Why don't you just feed back what was said so you can at least confirm that you heard it instead of talking through it every single time Nathan talks.
Yeah, specifically the circle of equal altitude bit with the straight line bit, which could only be achieved on a flat Earth bit. Do you want to repeat those bits back so we know that you understand it could only be done on a flat Earth?
I can give it a stab, sure, if you'd like.
Yeah, that'd be wonderful. Yeah, that big smile in my voice.
Yes, I do. It sounds like you can get by getting an angle I'm not going to use the correct words, but getting an angle to a celestial body, I can draw a line down from there and know where in a line completely around me, there's going to be a circle at which it's all going to be the exactly the same angle from off the horizon.
All the same altitude. Circle of equal altitude.
Angled altitude, sure. I'm trying to deliberately.
No, you seem confused. Not the same angle of altitude.
A circle of equal altitude.
No. You keep adding angle. Just circle of equal altitude. That would be a circle around you that's all the same altitude.
Sure. Yep. Circle of equal altitude. That's what I think you mean.
That would be flat then. That's flat. And to make the measurements with your flat triangle with its flat bottom, it's got to be flat to do that. Do you understand that? Because that's something you seem to have an issue with, saying it couldn't be done on a flat Earth. And yet it seems, as pointed out 7 times by me, that it could only be done on a flat Earth. Do you understand that? This could only be done on a flat Earth.
I mean, that's obviously the whole topic of debate. That seems why you've got the...
No, it's how you measure it. We've just gone through it with you. It's not being debated. We're telling you how it's measured.
So explain to me the bit where it's flat. I'm saying...
Yeah, the bottom of the triangle to the GP of the star to get the angle is flat. The area around you is considered to be an area of equal altitude in order for this to work. For you to have a flat bottom to the triangle all around you in all directions 360 degrees. All of it must be flat for this to work. That's the 8th time it's been explained to you.
I'd certainly get you repeating yourself. It doesn't mean that the point...
That they don't use a circle of equal altitude and get a flat bottom that you explained to us with a triangle that you explained to us. It doesn't mean that bottom of the triangle's flat. It could be curved or dodecahedron shaped, even though it's absolutely flat and must be for this to be triangulation. It has to be flat, but maybe it's just my opinion and worth debating over this fact of geometry. No, it has to be flat, mate, or it wouldn't work. That's a fact. Not an opinion, not worth debating. A statement of cold, hard fact. Flat.
Yeah, the rules wouldn't work on a curved surface.
Also reiterated by you when you said that this does not prove a sphere, which is exactly why the hell we're here. So...
Nathan,
the 10th man works for the Sextant. Let 10th man break it down to it.
Listen, I've got 6 pictures. I've got 6 pictures of Master B to give the guy a visual aid or the audience who later will watch the show. Nathan, you can go over those if you like. You've seen them before.
I've got them up. You can't see them in the Hangouts or in Discord. If someone wants to post them who's in the Hangouts to Discord just so they can follow along, I'd be very grateful. But please don't interrupt 10th. You've got your circle of equal altitude. First slide. Go ahead, 10th.
Yeah, so first one, you see a circle of equal altitude. You can see that zenith position of, say, the sun there. And from every position on that circle, it measures 50-degree angle. So that means if this is over the ocean, every one of those sidings would be the same. So this cannot work without the triangle and the straight line that you can see there as depicted. The next slide will show a stick in the ground and the sun at some location over the plane that we live on, and then a shadow cast. So that also gives you an angle as to what you are to the sun, because it's not directly overhead, or else that shadow wouldn't be there. It would be a little or no shadow if it was directly overhead. So to get an angle, you need a baseline. It needs to be 0. It needs to be a straight line. Or else how are you going to get an angle? You can't achieve an angle without 2 straight lines. You can't achieve an angle with one line straight, the zenith line, and one line curved, the sphere of the Earth. You can never achieve an angle. So a sextant can never work on a globe surface because it's curved. The next slide. you have a depiction of 3 circles of equal altitudes. And this is done so that you can get a fix, F-I-X. So when you do one, you're somewhere on the circle. You just don't know where on the circle. When you do the second circle crosses the first circle twice. So you're at one of those 2 points. When you do a third celestial sighting, then you're able to see where all 3 circles cross, and that is your fix. All that you see there has to be flat for triangulation to work, for an angle to be achieved. The next slide shows a characterization of a person using a sextant, aiming it at the 0 baseline horizon, the flat plane, and sighting a star, and it sights at 25 degrees. This is why you have the books. At the books, you find out where that star is directly overhead on the Earth. The next slide. This shows exactly how it would be done. So here to the left, the middle of the picture is a little characterization of a sextant being used. You got star A right there, 90 degree, and anywhere on that circle is 900 miles away from it. Line of position, LOP. So it's also 50 degrees to that star. And if you go back to the previous drawings, you can see what would happen if you do another star, like you see here, star B, you would have another circle. And when they cross, you are somewhere at that fix. The last slide, a very nice, colorful slide. Here you have the star directly over that part of the Earth called the subpoint, the zenith position, the geographical position, and a circle of equal altitude. Anywhere on that circle to that GP is 3,000 nautical miles, anywhere from that circle.
Right.
The Earth cannot be a sphere.
Right, and if I just flip back to your single depiction on the nice, colourful, globe-based circle of equal altitude on a curved surface nonsense, you've got one circle of equal altitude, and it could be up to, what, 1,000 miles? And then you've got 2 others to get your fix, i.e. triangulate yourself with the 3 different positions, because they're crossing at 2 different points when you've only got 2. So you could be at either of these 2 locations, and when you get the third, you've got an exact location. But that means that all 3 of these circles are all circles of equal altitude with straight lines to get 90 degrees to the GP of the star. Well, this straight line here, and this straight line here, and this straight line here are necessitated to do the triangulation, meaning that all 3 of these circles are all circles on the same level plane.
Exactly. Sextant could only work on a flat plane because you can't achieve an angle without 2 straight lines. You need a corner, a vertex. A curved line does not allow for a vertex or a corner.
Epic. In debate and discussion, that's the best presentation you've given to date.
Sums it up for me.
That's the best presentation you've given to date, 10th.
Well, we had a live one on the end of the line, so when he said
Sorry, I just wanted to say I saw the whole picture as you were explaining it.
Thank you, Neil. When he said sextant before the close of the live show, I said, what did he say? It just caught my ear. That's why I brought it up again. So I'm glad it was able to be talked with someone who actually thought that the sextant works on the curve. I mean, where do you get that from?
An assumption of a south celestial pole antipode from a north celestial pole.
Ah,
so that's curious to me.
That doesn't prove a sphere.
No, not unless you make the
Yeah,
question.
it doesn't prove a sphere. The reason I brought it up is because I'm curious to know how it works on something flat.
We just explained it. It could only work if it was flat in order to have the straight, flat bottom of the triangle that you're drawing to the GP of each 3 of the stars in their circles of equal altitude. That could only work if it was flat. That's the 9th time I've explained
I'm asking about is how do you get
This is all about 3D
opposite
geometry,
poles?
the basics of it.
Yeah, basic stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
It's like fitting the square through the square hole and fitting the ball through the circular hole. That's basically what this is. I hope it's not going over your head.
I mean, some of it I am struggling to understand, so it's possible I'm missing bits of it. That's absolutely possible.
Oh, okay. Could be just fighting against a cognitive bias that you have.
I certainly think that's something that humans struggle with, myself included.
Indeed. I should have more empathy, but the arena has rubbed all that out of me.
You've been doing this a
something
while.
he said.
Like I'm fairly fresh to this whole flat Earth, globe Earth debate.
Okay.
There was something he said about drawing a straight line to the horizon, which runs contrary to the rebuttal to the black swan. So you can't hold both those positions, that you're drawing a straight line to the horizon and that the horizon's refracted.
Indeed.
Wondering if I can ask an unrelated.
Does he know the black swan?
I think there's a couple of people just summing up, but whoever asked if they can ask an unrelated question, you can. Just there's a couple of people that I think want to get a few straggly points out at the end of this discussion.
I do too.
Go ahead.
Can I summarize my end? So
Yes,
I just finish up.
Feel free to go first. Summarize. Go ahead.
So he said refraction. Well, the sextant plows through any kind of refraction because at 3,000 nautical miles, you've blown through all refraction, all looming, all everything. It doesn't matter what optics are. The baseline has to be zero. It has to be flat. It has to be a straight line. So the refraction has no meaning to the use of a sextant once your star is 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 miles away at its GP. It is getting the correct angle to it, and no optics could affect it.
Anybody else? Chocolate Erd? Maybe Arwin? If not, John? QE?
Yeah, he mentioned flippantly the South Celestial Pole and refraction. Number one, South Celestial Pole, that's an imaginary point in the sky. He also mentioned refraction. I don't think you realize what you're saying. It's much like the imaginary point in the sky, because when you bagak refraction, that's terrestrial refraction. You're within a paradox off a mother begging the question fallacy. The paradox is that you got curved atmosphere or curved gases. Gases have no inherent shape. They don't curve. And then you have to know the radius. So when you just flippantly put those terms out, get ready to get your ass handed to you. That's it.
Radius. Definitely don't have that.
Okay, was there anybody else who wanted to talk about stars, GPs, circles of equal altitude, flat bottoms to triangles, anything else? If not, whoever it was in Discord.
That was me, Nathan. Thanks.
Go ahead. SE Montreal.
First of all, good job, 10th and Bev. The straight line thing, there's no way around that. No, absolutely no way around. The question I want to ask, as you guys were talking about it the other day, is that June 10th, Ring of Fire solar eclipse. I've done some searching and I wasn't able to find any video of it. Adam posted just one from the University of Glasgow, I believe, or something like that.
Cambridge.
That's the one I found. I'm wondering, anybody else seen anything?
No, so far Cambridge is it. Unless you're saying there's another one from Glasgow University, but you might just be mistaken in terms of which university.
Yes, correct. Yeah, thank you for correcting me. Yeah, that's the one.
That's it so far.
Amazing that, eh? All their beautiful predictions that they claim they make, they know down to the nanometer what the rotation of the sun, moon is. Yeah, poppycock. I just wanted to put that out there.
Fair enough.
No roaring from the stands. No, where are the Globers with this, man? I don't understand.
That is a good point, isn't it? Because it was predicted as a Ring of Fire eclipse, and nobody ever saw it apart from one that came from Cambridge, and that's in the UK. And the best we got was like a quarter. It skimmed the edge.
Yeah, that was what was supposed to happen for us, though. But we were just expecting more eyes on the Ring of Fire, more than just one But there we go. That's just how it is. It matches up with the almanac. So I think Adam, when he discussed it with me, we both have the same opinion. He's not here to back me up right now, but it's like, if it kind of matches the predictions and it just happens to be the case that loads of cloud cover, or they just, for whatever reason, didn't catch it, and then somebody does come up with it, I won't in any way be surprised. But by the same token, what's it useful for? Well, both sides pretty useless if you ask me, other than debunking and affirming the consequent if they do it. But, you know, I don't know. I don't think it's that consequential. It's interesting that they've got so little of it.
I find it interesting because they've been telling us that their model is a way better predictor than, you know, the old tried and tested ways.
Where's that model at?
Likely.
Do you have a picture or something? Do you have the model?
The model?
I was just gonna ask, Bev, has anybody given you that model?
No, that's what I'm saying. I think that's what SE's saying. It's like they say they have a model that is the best predictor, and they predicted a ring of fire, and there doesn't seem to have been one. So, I mean, it should be them that should be coming after and letting us know. You know,
it is weird.
Yeah,
because we've been told we have models that make predictions for like 6 years.
But exactly to the minute, when I bring up the anti-Ethereum mechanism, they laugh at me. They say it doesn't predict to the minute, but we predict to the minute. Bull.
It's interesting that 8 inches per mile is part of their jargon, and they can't even, with whatever they call their model, show that.
That's another thing, yeah.
Funny, I've heard Glover say that that's wrong. And it's like, really? Okay.
They say, what's wrong, Chocolate?
The 8 inch per mile squared.
Really? So then it is flat.
No,
hey, I mean, I don't argue with them much after that. It's like, oh, that's wrong? Okay.
I'd like to introduce them to George Chanechik. I'd like to make that introduction.
Right. George Nunchuck.
Yeah, he has plenty of backup material saying that 8 inches per mile squared is exact. Our presentation. Exact.
Okay.
You get it, Baltards?
No.
You live on a sphere. There's drop. 8 inches per mile squared. It's exact. You have elevation drop, which is painfully redundant. Drop. You get it? Clowns. You're finished.
Yes.
You're finished in 2015. Now we're just going to ridicule you.
Okay. You are correct. However, a word of warning, because this is intentional. I have watched George and Rumpus go about discussing and convoluting their own argument between themselves for hours on end when it came to Coriolis effect, and this is no different. So you have an accurate measurement of an Earth sphere radius 3959, and the actual curve that it would be away from you isn't exactly 8 inches per mile squared. It doesn't work out exactly. That's just an approximation. I realise that there are people out there who say, no, it is exact, and they'll give the limitations at something like 1000K. And say, this is how it works. Up until this point, it is exact, which is what your point with George is. That no, that's what they say it is. Yeah, and they do. But they also simultaneously say that's not quite right. The more accurate measurement is. And then they'll give you that. But that's just to lure you into arguing about something within the begging the question fallacy that is their assumption of a curved edge moving away from you at 8 inches per mile squared, or any other measurement they may give you. Meanwhile, they haven't got a physical geometric horizon or an R to assume this calculation and argue about how they're going to derive the drop you see in optical imagery when compared to a side profile begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator with its R value debunked already. So while we could get into arguing about which version of their claim that the Earth moves away from you and falls away from you at whatever value they're going to ascribe, that's just you arguing within their begging the question fallacy paradigm. Not directed at you, QE. Directed at, I'm not going to be horrible or beat around the bush, everybody else other than you, if I'm honest.
Yep. Isn't it just fun, though, to point out that, I mean, for years we've been told we don't have this, coherent model all this nonsense. But then, like, literally, like, QE's nupty clips. Like, you play one guy says it's accurate, the other guy says it's an approximation, back to back.
Yeah.
So I think it's good to point it out. Like, even in their own coherent model, it's not even coherent.
I agree. It's worth knowing where the contradictions lie. That's why I'm saying, with the exception of Quantum Racer and now Chocolate, yes, it's worth pointing it out, so long as you don't fall into the overall bear trap that's being laid for you. Why would it be the case that Rumpus and George would sit around for an hour and a half arguing about how Coriolis effect works, when they're both supposed to be so educated that George can go after another man's career based on his understanding of how Coriolis effect works? Yet he's arguing about it for an hour with Rumpus, about how the reference frames worked and what they're going to be looking at and how it works. No, it's worth keeping it extremely convoluted, and this is no exception. Let's convolute how the curve works, because so long as we're arguing about how the curve works and how we maths the curve, we're automatically assuming there's a curve. Now, okay, yes, it obviously doesn't apply to certain members of my panel, but for the most part, I'm not going to be rude. I watch it all day, every day. People falling into the trap, begging the question, and arguing about this kind of crap. How do we calculate the curve that doesn't exist? Let's argue about that, because then we're well within the paradigm. That's my only word of warning.
Ask them to define curvature. After 5.5 years, ask them to define curvature.
Yeah,
and why was it?
that's a
the
good
only one to bring
one,
it up?
bro. Ask him to define curvature and sit back and laugh.
Yeah,
good one.
How come no one's caught on to that? I was surprised when I brought it up. I said, "Why don't you define that, monkey?" I've never heard anyone define it. Have you?
Yeah, they say it's a straight line.
Well, I asked my man today because, you know, I started with, was there any Glober that wanted to tell us how levels curved? And then the guy from before started talking, and then he defined level, but he never actually defined curve. So I don't
Does
know. Maybe
anyone
they
know?
don't want to.
I don't
we
know
got
how
any
you.
ballers? Is Mr. What's his Sextant still here?
Is it riding something? What's it say?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just as a habit don't talk to QA. He mutes me.
Well, he just asked you a question.
That's okay. That's
so-
fine. No, that's fine. That's fine. I don't know where this is going to go, so I don't mind picking up the reins because I don't know how this is going to pad out. Nevertheless, what is curvature? Can you define it for us?
For me, it'd be anything other than flat or straight would be curved.
Anything other than telling me what something's not is not defining what that thing is.
That just hurt the ballers, though. Ouch.
You follow?
Said he won't talk to you because you mute him, apparently.
I wouldn't either.
Okay, maybe someone else. I mean, we've heard what it's not, but we want to know what it is. What is curvature?
Deviating from straight at a set rate.
Well,
no. Could be though. Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, I'm looking for the actual. I need citation with it.
I did not bring citation with me for that. No.
Postulate 3, Euclid. A circle can be defined by any center and any distance from that center. It's the only place
That's
you'll
not
define
curvature.
curve.
That's not curvature.
Yeah, that's why it's such a weird thing for them. They managed to hide in obfuscation a circle and a sphere. Can't be defined.
Wait.
Except with a
It's
straight
weird for
line.
Ballers to define curvature? There's not a baller can't define curvature. Right?
Nope.
Cannot be.
Okay.
Ballers.
defined.
Chocolate and I are obviously echoing the same sentiments because I'm struggling with this as well. So I'm going to have to wrap my head around this while around at the live show. So, or after show, I should say. So with that, I'll say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G+ panels for making today's after show possible. Of course, a massive thank you to all of you in either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Programming streams for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Also, below this video, you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!